right, we're back to comics that
Comics that
influence.
influence.
Yay! Jake, you're gonna go first because you got a little mini stack.
I have a mini stack, and I'm gonna. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through the stack, and then I'm gonna go zero in on one or more that I have, so I can use my time to
All right,
dig in to the ones that are deserving.
I'm gonna give you 20
Um,
minutes. You got 20 minutes, so.
Great. So, well, let's start with this first comic from 1988, Evangeline. This is number 9. This is a series. I like this cover. I like
I
the
do
draft.
too.
I like the drafting. I don't like this. Why is this all this dead space here? There's a lot of dead space, and if you're gonna do dead space for effect, then I don't know. It just looks like it's a
Well, they
dead space
told
without
him.
effect.
They told him to leave space. Probably the top third is what they told the artist for the title, and of course they put the little publisher's box, and then some jackass didn't just tilt that Evangeline and expand it. I mean, just put it on tilt and expand it.
I
Right?
would have put a word balloon here that says, "Hey,
I
let's
wouldn't
blow
know.
those
I
suckers
would have
away."
tilted that thing and made it bigger. Big
How about a little
swooshy.
blast panel that says "Merry Marvel Marching Society" or something? Like
Okay.
you'll thrill to see the exploits of this. You will not believe your eyes.
Right,
Anyway,
right, right.
I
Wow.
don't think we've covered. I don't think we've covered Evangeline yet, but
Great stuff.
Chuck Chuck Dixon wrote it. Um, internal pencils John Statema, and inked by Ricardo Villagran, who inked this right here. Um, this looks like a little Cuberty to me, a different kind of a style. And then there is a separate colorist because First Comics is spending a lot here on the colors. And yeah, this looks like a really interesting comic. Maybe this will be the one I come back to with my time.
Okay.
Here's the Ravening. So Avatar is a controversial, I guess, outfit. Are they still around? Are they not around? Do they do adult stuff? Is it mature stuff? So here are some glossy inside coated stock comics. Artwork by Rick Lyon. Story by Christensen and Seifert. Don't really know who these people are. Oh, hello. So
You
the
just said you got the answer to your question.
so that's for another day. Dominique, it's a labeled mature audiences here.
Family matters.
Charles and Lisa Moore story. Gene Gonzalez penciler. Tyler Bishop inker. Packaged by Crunchy Frog Studios. So Dominique, I think I've seen these around. They're using this type. I used to know what this typeface was called. They kind of blew a page here on the title page.
True.
But yeah,
Wow.
this is the style, and
Nice.
this reminds me right off the bat of like some AC comics.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
What year is
Again,
this?
the penciler is Gene Gonzalez. This is 1994,
Okay.
so this is still in the era of indies, right? That would be like the 80s and the 90s. This is late in the
Well, the
game.
black and whites.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of standing around here, so
Yeah, I agree.
let's not spend too much time. Sojourn. Now, I think I had a different copy of Sojourn. Here we got photo references. It looks like the St. Pauli girl. Look at this. She's fighting orcs and goblins, and look at this action packed. The art is good.
Yeah.
It's a little photoshoppy, I think. The coloring is a little glitzy, glossy. They got textures and stuff. But this also looks like a little bit of heavy metal influence.
I agree.
Some image influence, which is getting me down. But it looks like there's a lot here, so maybe this is the one we come back to. Boom! Frank Frazetta's Creatures by Image, a one-shot, cover A. So this is a Frazetta cover. And then you open it up, and there's this whole story Frank Frazetta's Creatures. This comes out in 2008. 2008. So this is looks like quality comics coming out from Image. Doesn't look so imagey. It looks like Theodore Roosevelt or something, some kind of like adventurer, Indiana Jones type guy, and he's going into intrigue, and here the giant snake. A lot of story. I don't know. The insides are losing me here. I don't think this needed to be full color. You can see how shiny this stock is, this coated stock. So the insides are kind of losing me on the visuals. It might be a great story. This is kind of cartoony. So I'm gonna just put that in its place. Um, King Diamond is one of my favorite metal singers. His name is Jens Jensen from Denmark, one of the most famous musical acts to come out of Denmark,
Huh.
and he used to be in a band called Merciful Fate. So this is a real band, and it looks like there's no number here. There's no company. So this is 10 Ton Press, I guess, and they're putting out these rock comics. King Diamond, and wow, look at this. It's in the style of
Sheesh.
Tim Vigil, right?
Yeah.
And who is. So, look, this is the history of King Diamond, circa 1985. My favorite King Diamond song is called The Devil's Eye, but they had their closest thing to a hit was called Melissa, and I think that was from his first band, Merciful Fate. Here you can see the black inks kind of turn into pencil, right? This is kind of gray washy here. I don't know if that was just an anomaly, but I like the art, so this might be worth getting into. Usually when you see those rock and roll comics and it has the history of the band, I'm not really that into it. But I think I bought this new on the stand. I might have even gotten this in Newberry. Um, and I don't know where I'm supposed to find. Here we go. Here's the indicia. Rock and Roll Biography Comics, King Diamond, August 2023. This is brand new. I just bought it off the shelf and I forgot. And the comic book company is Acme Inc. INK. So this is a company coming out of nowhere, illustrated by Mats Ingeston and Vic Moya. So it looks like these could be like Scandinavian names. And yeah, it looks like a pretty good one. Let's see what else. All right, so this is going to need its own episode because this guy's Steve Mannion. He's been around for a long time, and I don't think I ever done a Steve Mannion
He is the
book.
man. He is the man.
Yeah, he's worked for
Phew.
Fantagraphics. He's worked
Didn't he
for.
do? He was in Marvel. He was in the Marvel bullpen for a
He
while,
has
I
done a
think.
little bit for Marvel. Yeah, not
Yeah.
too much.
No, I think he
This
like
is
jumped out because it was too restrictive on him and everything.
We spoke about him because he has these World
Amazing.
War II themed stuff. He's a great
Amazing.
artist. He has his sketchbooks on sale
God.
online. I don't
He
know. Yeah,
does
he
do. He has
seems
his
like
own YouTube channel. If I could find it and put a link below, real raw. He just turns his phone on and just shows off what he's working
right.
on. I mean, he had spiral notebooks where he was flipping from different pages to show you as best he could the sequences of a story he just came up, and he could have he could have published that. It's just amazing. He
So
should
he
get
looks
way
like
more praise.
his influences are Arthur Soydum,
Yes.
all the Mad Magazine guys.
Yes.
He does females in his own kind of inimitable style.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's cartoon.
Cheesecake.
He does that. Yes, cheesecakey. He does that wise thing when it's like far shots of just really simplifying and making them cartoony. And that reminds me a lot of Corbin. I think that he also reminds me a lot
Yes.
of Richard Corbin,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's also very like the reason I said Mad Magazine. He's very expressive, very cartoony. So I see a lot of Kurtzman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
'cause when I say Mad Magazine, I mean the early Harvey Kurtzman stuff, right?
I just think he synthesized everything he wanted to, and he can just
Yeah.
flow now with his own
Whoa.
recognizable sense. I mean, that is just
Look at this.
come
Jack the
on.
Ripper versus a prostitute. Whoa, Mary Dillon, the legend of Mary Dillinger. She this is just like a 3 page or one, two, yeah, just a 3 pager. So these are just like
It's incredible.
interstitials.
It's incredible.
This is his famous signature.
Yeah.
I love his Nazi stuff. I mean, his German World War II stuff. You know, great style. This almost looks like Milo Manara here. You know,
It's
also
like he
look at it.
synthesizes
Look
it.
at
It's
this.
amazing.
Very
Jamie
valuable
Hewlett.
stuff.
Jamie Hewlett for Tank Girl.
Right.
I
So
think
I'm
this is.
gonna leave that where it is because
Oh
I
yeah.
I didn't do
All right.
the last couple of pages, but a lot of great stuff in there. Um, Here we go. Death is just the beginning. This is TSR Comics module, and this is whoa. What is this? Looks like good. Looks like goodish art. The colors are interesting. A lot of standing around here. So I'm looking for the indicia. They oh, doesn't have the indicia, but it's Marv Wolfman writing and Pat Olef penciler. I have heard that name before. Yeah, he's got one of these indie styles. You know, very very kind of like common style. I want to guess that this is late '90s, but I might be wrong. Let's see where the indicia is. So it says 1990.
Wow, that's early '90s.
TSR Comics. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is like these Bucky O'Hare styles. Everybody's trying to be like Michael Golden, right? And this 1990, you know, still in the hunt here, in the zombie hunt of, you know, the indie comics. Whoa, look at this. This lady's here getting her head blown off. Here's some action and angel wings, ladies. So I don't know what I'm looking at. Is this a horror comic? Is this superheroes? Is this
Yeah, but
supernatural
TSR
things?
is Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
So
I know.
I don't understand. I guess it's whatever RIP is, you know, rest in peace, it must be tied to a game. So they must have had a game at that time, role playing game, and this is just ephemera for it.
An
It's just
offshoot,
to
right?
keep
Well, it
things
says this is the
engaging.
comic module. This is two of
Hi.
four.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so here's Widow. This is such a lift off Aeon Flux. This is really
Right.
influenced by Peter Chung, without a doubt. So Widow.
Beautiful.
It's 1995, and it's a little bit of a power comic to me. It's color, but you know, it's got this real graffiti-ish influence, and I
Yeah.
think at his best, he takes his time to look like Aeon Flux, but you know, when he's just doing, you know, typical pages, super cartoony, um, you know, not in a bad way, but you know, like stuff like this. This is
Oh
just,
hell
it
yeah.
looks like the stuff that you just do when you're, you know, bored in school with your marker and your paper and your loose leaf, right? But he put together this whole, you know, comic, and it looks like he was inspired by Aeon Flux to make Widow, right? Is that a bad
Yep.
thing?
No, not for me.
Um,
I'd buy that.
yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna leave that one there. And Ultra Girl. So I bought this obviously because it's a female, bulky superheroine, but it's
Right.
Marvel Comics, December '96. Never heard of Ultra Girl. And when you look inside, you don't get the strong female stuff. I'm not seeing. I see some action. I see like 16 panels on a page. It's kind of getting bogged down. Uh, yeah, I mean, you're looking for some like rendering here. You got some cameos from some X-Men and stuff. Some action here. I don't know what this book is trying to be. You know, I think this might have been trying to horn in on Power Girl, from which is a DC title. So they just made Ultra Girl, but the visuals. Look at this heads, just talking heads.
What
A
year is
lot
it?
of. So this is 1996, and so this is a Marvel comic, and you know the pages look a little bit shrunk down. I wonder if this was maybe a UK import or something. And it says like this. Oh, this is like when Marvel absorbed Malibu. Ultra Girl is
Okay.
coming over from
Okay.
Malibu, right?
All
And
right.
so I guess they gave it a whirl.
Well, they had
This,
to keep they had to register the trademark or the copyright for them. So that
yeah,
was the official. They had to keep it in circulation through Marvel in order to hold it for a period of time.
right. Written by Barbara Kessel, penciled by Leonard Kirk, inked by Terry Pallett and Bob Allman. So yeah, I don't know. It didn't blow me away. Ultra Girl could have been great if they would have made the whole comic like that. Viking Heroes, of course. This is Thibodeau, right?
Yeah,
And
great stuff.
yeah, so I'm gonna do a different one on that. Femforce we've gone over. I don't know if I've done this one before, but this brings us back to Evangeline. So how am I doing on time? Just pretty
You got
much done, or
4 minutes.
all right? So I want
Take
to
it,
spend my
Tom.
four.
Take it, Tom.
I want to spend my time on Evangeline. Let's get back into Evangeline. I
All
mean,
right.
again, we can't do that one. This one was a dull. Maybe this one. This one was not so good. This one I covered pretty much. This one I covered a lot of. This one was kind of mysterious. This one we covered, and this one we covered. So we got
Two.
Evangeline. Let's dig in.
Let's go.
This is issue number 9. The guy's hooked up to a whole bunch of tubes and machines. So it looks like we're in the 22nd century. I love it. And I don't know if there was any kind of apocalypse, but Evangeline is she blonde? Yeah, so she's a buxom blonde.
And it's
You
Chuck
got the
Dixon.
nuns. Chuck Dixon wrote it, yeah.
Good.
She's got a buxom blonde with the garters, and it says so. I think she's like a street walker. It
She's a
says
pro.
there's been a there's been a rash of kidnappings in some of the bigger Euro 2 cities. London seems to be the latest target. Always young girls, the kind no one will miss. There's a big stretch limo here. I guess in 2022 they got the Crown Vics, but um, they're Lord knows where they get their information. Word on the street is that the girls are being grabbed to make babies. Odds are that if we stake out a hot corner in a lousy section of town, we'll attract some sharks. So she's undercover. For that, we need bait. Looks like a blonde right there. And here, this monk haircut guy in a limo, in like a Cadillac limo. He goes, what do you want? There's a crowd of your. I ain't doing group rates, you know. No problem. Lots of cash. See? Now get in the car. This is edgy stuff. She gets in the car, and then he starts bringing out the needle. Hey, what's that? I ain't going for nothing freaky. Oh, yeah? So she starts kicking guys. You little bitch. So here's some female abuse. They shoot her right in the butt. She's bleeding. This is pretty severe stuff. Now, Chuck Dixon is most famous for. Help me out. What was his biggest property?
Oh, he's written
He did
everything,
everything.
hasn't he? Yeah. I don't think
Yeah.
of one title. Um, but he's a pulpy guy. He's not he
Batman,
doesn't pull
Nightwing,
he doesn't pull punches.
Punisher. He's from Philadelphia. He did Savage Sword of Conan.
Yeah.
He worked for Evangeline. His earliest comics work was Evangeline for
Oh,
Comico, starting
there
in
you go.
'84.
There you go.
Wow! And then he goes to Eclipse for Airboy, Timothy Truman. He he worked his way through Alien Legion. Worked with Galassi. He adapted The Hobbit. He started writing Moon Knight for Marvel in '89. So this is pretty edgy stuff, man. The artwork is a little bit stiff, I think. Kind of in the way that maybe like Watchmen is a little stiff. But
Yeah.
the story it definitely conveys the story, and it's definitely good art, right?
Yeah.
Quality art. Look at this.
Professional.
She's struggling. She's bashing these guys apart. This is kind of like the scene in True Romance, right? Don't even think about it, right? She looked, and this is like our scene. Oh, she's crashing. These guys are just shooting people on the street. A lot of action unfolding here. We have an ad where the badger is kicking a nun in the head, but it looks like a man. I don't know what's going on there. Um, so here we got a hostage standoff. She's kicking guys left and right. I like this. Some sparse areas here. I don't know why this is dead. I don't know why this is dead. Why not just draw some rubble and some sidewalk? Um, but really good faces, really good like continuity, really good consistency. This is interesting. They have all these girls locked up. They took them for breeding purposes. So this is just like a typical Evangeline story where she poses as a hooker and she gets back to this hideout where they're keeping all the girls. I guess they're all saved. Now we're going to outer space, and this is like silent pages, right? I don't know. These guys are sick on this spacecraft. Um, and then boom. Is this the story or is this an ad? World War III begins in September. I
Yeah, I
think
think that's
no. This is an ad. I think
yeah.
these are ads. Hawk Moon. We've seen. All right. So then, is this a different story of Evangeline that starts here? This ends here, starts here. I don't know. That was very weird. Anyway, we're up in space now, and somebody had a radical C-section. We got people in pods. I think I'm gonna pick up some more Evangelines if
Right.
I come across it. Anyway, yeah, and yeah, some of this is reminding me of Don Simpson's space thing. What was that called? Outer. What was it called? Outer Banks or something? Or remember Don Simpson's sci-fi
No,
stories?
no, I can't remember.
Oh no.
Uh-uh.
Okay. Yeah, and so this has some bad guy here and some end here in the cinema, Ruthless Angel. Well, I think this is a pretty high quality comic. I don't know the story. I think it's called The Confessional. I think maybe she was a maybe she was a nun or something. Yeah. It says it's the 22nd century. Many things have changed. Humans have colonized the stars. They still persecute each other. Enter Evangeline, executioner and savior, a woman with a dark past and an unswerving allegiance. Hand-to-hand combat, demolitions, electronics. Among them are Cardinal Sin, the Vatican head of intelligence who recruited her and assigns her missions. Johnny Six, a thief who sees Evangeline as more than a professional. What is she? She's an avenger and a prosecutor. Who is Evangeline? She's a nun, a very dangerous nun. Last issue, Evangeline's first mission, they learned that street girls were being kidnapped, etc., etc. All right. Uh, you made a believer out of me. This is a time capsule, 1990s, early Chuck Dixon, trying to make his name. As opposed to this is 2003 stuff. We have all the modern technology and the Photoshop and the photo referencing. So Sojourn is issue number 18 from a company called CrossGen Comics. CrossGen Comics.
Yeah.
CG Entertainment. And I don't know how long they lasted, but this was their stuff in 2003. Some good action here. Um, I'm trying to complain about it, but there's action plus photo references. This might be a little indulgent with 2 pages of double spreads. I don't know if that's a lot. You got this winged angel guy breaking swords. A lot of like dramatic poses. She's got 10,000 cuts on her face. They're using Photoshop textures for the background. I guess that's not allowed now, right? That's AI. Um, and here, all these dramatic poses. So, it's like she's like kind of a Red Sonja, except she's
Yeah.
blonde.
Yeah. In a
Written
in
by
a
Rod.
Lord of the Rings world.
Right. I've never heard of Greg Land. I have heard of Ron Mars, the writer.
Yeah.
Jay Lightstein, inker, and then the colorist is pretty busy here, trying to make this stuff photoreal, and a letterer, good lettering. So professional outfit.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to them? CrossGen Comics. Let's look at their ads and see if there's anything else we recognize. Here's all their retailers all over all over the country, all over the world, international. They have Demon Wars. I never really heard of that. Looks like some Lord of the Rings. They have Mystic, another Doctor Strange meets Ms. Mystic, whatever. I don't know if that ever came out. And finally, the Crossovers, which has a big dog in it and a superhero team with cartoons. And what's this? This is Brath. I guess he's the Conan guy. So they had a lot of offerings. They're flooding the zone here. I love the ambition. Don't know how far they got, but I think that's the second issue of Sojourn I picked up, and I picked it up because there's a female warrior princess or whatever. She looks a little bit. I mean, I know they put cuts on her and everything. She just looks a little too modelly, I don't think it works. It looks like they're looking at some model here, and her face doesn't really. It's not very expressive faces, right? She needs like some more expressions in her faces. There's some good and some bad here, but definitely a lot of high production values. So we're going to end up with these as our spotlights here. We did a lot of flipping around, so that's my report, Kurt.
Cool. Thank you.
I'll see if I can get an update on CrossGen Comics to see if anything ever happened with them.
Yeah, they went out of business. They were around for 12 years, 1998 to 2012, bankruptcy. The same thing. It's ever happened to any kind of comic book company.
It says their assets were acquired by Walt Disney Company.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a nice golden parachute at the end.
Yeah. Well, it depends on how much bankruptcy they had because they had to pay those debtors.
It's a guy named Mark Alessi, and they say the problem was they tried to expand too much, too fast.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
So that's this one, CrossGen. Mark Wade came out of there. And, well, I think Sojourn must have been their biggest one. It got up to issue 18. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right then. Let me jump over to here to my camera, my comic, which the last episode of Comics That Influence was my beach haul from Bethany Beach and the comic book shop down there that I perused and found 2 long boxes full of good old 80s black and whites and a lot of number 1s. And I found this gem, which I did not show off anything inside of, and I wanted to in this follow-up episode. So, real quick about me, I am not a Marvel, DC, starting out comic book superhero guy, collector, or inspired art. There were 2 veins that brought me into comics and held me into comics and still do. The first thing is black and white ninja comics. So, friends of mine down the street say there's this comic book shop that opens up down the street, down actually on the other side of town if you want to be specific. So we all rode our bikes out there. They were after Spider-Man and X-Men and Superman and Batman and all that. And on a shelf, there was a literal shelf full of black and white comic books, full color, just like this. And I'm positive that I would have come across this and bought it for this. And they all had ninjas on it. And I could not get enough of ninjas in my life between Kung Fu Theater and the magazine Ninja. So, of course, I just start grabbing every title I can that I can purchase for $20 or something and go to town. So I said this in the last episode. When I initially started looking through it, and of course when I did read it, um, it has a feeling just like Black Moon. And I'll flash something up. I actually couldn't find my copies of Black Moon. I must have moved them into a box
Yeah,
that I did not mark. But I have all three
we've
Black Moons, and we've talked
done
about
Black
it.
Moon.
And once
Yeah,
again, the whole 80s ninja mercenary hired assassin entirely in black. You know that you just you couldn't make enough stuff for me to get my money on out of my pocket and on. So totally into this. Now here's a guy I've been following recently. It just seems like a lot of books that I've been picking up have him as the artist. This time he's writer and artist, Gabriel Morissette. I have yet to sit
yeah.
down and do any more search. I'm hoping he's still around, and I'm hoping we can get him on the channel for the Indie Creator Exchange. But the black and white work in this, also, if you know, I'm the anchor on Turbo Pit Fighter. We've got our our Turbo Teaser #2, which is the first 12 pages. I love adding all these values to the pages and creating all these effects. Well, so does Mr. Morissette. So I just absolutely love this book. There's nothing, let's say, to cry home about and say this is a book beyond books. It's your simple trope. Guy gets, he's like the secret agent. Of course, he's got an Uzi Mac 10. Samurai swords. He's got to fight. It's just like a straight to VHS tape in comic book form, which you have to admit is a pretty sweet thing. A lot of good action, fighting, robots, samurai. I mean, for 14, 15-year-old Kurt, this is my world. So this is what kept me in comics and kept me moving through. And the second thing was Savage Sword of Conan the Barbarian comics. So that is what rooted me in the comics and keeps me still going. So this is actually a really funny thing I caught on to. I know Frank Miller did it in Daredevil when he introduced the hand and Elektra, but he put these brackets around the text, and it's to indicate that he's actually speaking Japanese. So I love that back in the day.
Yeah,
So I
I've
definitely,
seen
for
that.
my
Yeah,
own little comics, you know what I mean? So that's a pretty damn cool little note to self that when you're reading this text, you're actually reading Japanese. so that's pretty cool. Um, but
so
you know,
I'm on the bio page. It looks like more Gabriel Morissette is the artist of that or the writer.
he's writer too. He's also the writer of
He's the
this.
artist and the writer. So I'm looking at his credits. He starts out in Adventure Comics with Warriors,
Yes,
uh,
yes,
and that's like the guys in armor and everything. Then
Dungeons
he's
and
doing some
Dragons type
indie.
thing.
He goes over in the '90s, early '90s, to do some Teen Titans. Then he's doing Spider-Man 2099, and it looks like uh, from 1995. So that's really early Spider-Man 2099. Planet of the Apes, Valiant Comics, Ragman, Adventure Back to Adventure Adventure Publications '87, Ninja Elite. I have one of those.
I got a lot
Um,
of those.
yeah, bopping around the Indies, Kitchen Sink Press, Lobo Annual Bloodlines, Justice League Task Force, Hawk and Dove. The one that you have there is Gaijin. He's doing the Terminator for DC, Checkmate, and Gene Day's Black Zeppelin. So he loves the indies, but he's doing work for the bigs too. And
Good for him.
interesting career. It'd be great to have Gabriel on. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So does it say how many issues Gaijin went for?
Oh no, it didn't. No, it just
Yeah,
showed that one cover,
let me see
but
on this.
I can try and click through and see if there's anything more in that. Let's see. We're clicking on no, just the one. Gaijin number one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There was a lot of hope because it does say next, the dark edge of beauty, and of course you got this.
1987. Well, next he worked
Yeah,
on something different. So this
yeah.
isn't exactly
So
chronological, but yeah.
yeah,
I
it's all
mean,
right.
that's what
So
happens.
but
Like either you get a better offer, or you run out of steam, and you got to do some waitressing or whatever. It all depends.
yeah,
But it looks like
yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah,
been
yeah.
pretty steady in the biz.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, I'm I'm coming across his work more and more. I don't know if it's just the divine intervention of comic book gods saying, "Hey, take a look at his work," but I am the Adventure, the Warrior comics from Adventures. So just loving it because I'm doing a lot of devouring of just the '80s black and white books for my own work. But little follow up story or the backup story, which is kind of cool. Um, and it's got that manga, Amerimanga kind of feel to it. Little, there we go.
Yeah,
So
looks like he pivots to warriors from the ninja thing,
yeah, it's probably
and
something where they didn't want to continue with the ninja stuff, and they were the other
but
book
they go
probably had
back.
more
He goes
success.
back to ninjas. He goes back to ninjas later. So I don't know. Maybe he was trying it out, trying out different
Yeah,
things.
yeah. But reading the story, like I said, it's one of these things where it's pure entertaining us. It's just it's almost like the words are there to just keep you moving into the next. The similarities with Black Moon is the costume, the character arc, the tropey, one man army. Dressed in black as a ninja with the array of weapon mastery and the such. But the cool thing about Black Moon is it is post apocalyptic. This is more kind of like industrial espionage and
Yeah,
just we're fighting
corporate intrigue.
things in the corporations and such. But once again, it's so into my wheelhouse. I can't get enough of it. And to be honest with you, I'm just jaded in giving any other kind of get any kind of critique on it because I really enjoy like this is the kind of stuff I look for. There's no black lines as holding in here. This is like there's like an airbrush running and then it gives this little spiral, just some white paint lines. This looks like pencil and a little ink wash, a little bit of ink wash, gets a little darker. And an awesome, because the camera's caught him, throws the shuriken, boom, then now the camera can't see him. I love that
Yeah,
kind of stuff. Love the storytelling. I like the simplicity of using the medium other than just heavy handedly black lining out this thing.
yeah,
So this is what I'm always looking for in comics.
yeah. He's getting some shadow moving through the figures, right? That's
Yeah, it's
always
a really
good.
great,
Yeah.
that Wally Wood where you put
Well, yeah.
that
Maybe
dark on
even
there, and
like
then you have the reflective light coming on the side of the faces. So
maybe
real deep
a
shadowing.
little Dan Close, a little bit Charles Burns, a
It's
little bit, right?
like I said, I want to find out more and more about him because
Huh?
you just with cartoons kayfabe. For me, whatever, if I had actually watched all the episodes, which I know I haven't, um, I don't ever remember them bringing him up. And he just seems to be one of those soldiers that maneuvered his way through, highly professional, highly consistent, and making choices that are a little bit outside the norm, and them paying off. Um, there
Yeah,
is a
it also depends where you live. I mean, if somebody lives, you're trying to make it in the comic world. in the 80s and the 90s, there's work out there. You're moving from one thing to the other, but it depends if you're paying like, 400 a month in Detroit versus,
Yeah,
1100 a month in New York City.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now this is
So it
very Walt Simonson
depends
right
where you live.
here. Woo.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, this like I said, this is really what I'm going after. But like I said,
Gaijin.
this has been this out of the 18 books I got from Comics and Games in Bethany Beach. This was like the treasure find
Oh
for
yeah.
me. So yeah, I mean, there's other books in there that I'm also going to bring out for our comics that influence. But for the most part, this is what it is. But that's all I got, Jake. We can let these
All
people get
right.
back to reading comics, making them if they do one more time. We have our comics that influence channel, which is your Watch Your Watch. It's our segment as a part of our larger part of Turbo Pit Fighter. We also have a Turbo teaser, 12 pages plus an extra 2 for some background material. And we also do Indie Creator Exchange, which is an inner exchange amongst other indie creators where we send out a copy of our comic, they send a copy of their comic to us, and they went all down below in the description are links that you can find more information. And if you have to, don't be afraid to reach out and contact us through email, Instagram messaging, the works. But you got anything on the out,
Right.
Jake?
No, just gonna keep plugging away. You're gonna be taking a week off next week, so we got a couple of episodes in the can. So don't worry, there's gonna be a steady stream coming out every Sunday to you. The making of Turbo Pit Fighter, the comics that influence, and the indie creator exchange. So we're doing it all, and hopefully you are too. If not making comics, then buying them and enjoying them. We'll see you guys next time.
Awesome. All right. I'll
Peace.
see you, Jake.
All right.